Hey guys, so if we've gone through all of this together, then it's time to talk about some um, social emotional skills, some brain things, some understanding human behavior. And one of the things I wanted to ask first, was what one main idea has stuck with you, or has anything been a game changer? Please leave a comment about that so that I know. And even if there's something that you're like, I started to use this and then I changed it this way, let me know. Because this is just about sharing information so others can be all organized and be living our best life, right? So all that stuff. I know there's a ton of influencers, and I'm not trying to make money. I'm just trying to share what I know because I've been told many times in my life that I kind of know a lot, and I don't take that lightly. I've been listening to a lot of Bon Jovi interviews, and I mean, the guy's just confident, and some people think he's just a jerk, but he's confident, and he's worked his butt off for 40 years. So it's so he can confidently say, yeah, in the 80s when Slippery When Wet came out, we were the biggest band in the world. Like, they still kind of are one of the biggest bands in the world. And so we don't have to agree or not, but same as with this information that I'm sharing, that I wanted this to build a community to where people can share what works for them, what's not working for them, or to tell me that it was a game changer. And so then, because when usually things are good, then that means you are sharing it with people that you think need it as well. So we'll do that. Um, oh my goodness, hold on. I knew this was gonna happen. So social emotional skills, understanding human behavior. So this is a picture of second here. This is a triangle. If you've ever taken a Psych 101 class, you would have heard about this before, but Abraham Maslow has a theory. Theories are different from science. Some people don't necessarily agree with this triangle, but it is a starting point. And all of the things that I've shared in these other workshops have been based on this pyramid. So his hierarchy of need. Um, and we're going to start here. I'll just tell you a little bit. It is Abraham. He was known for groundbreaking studies on personality and motivation, and his concepts of self-actualization, or having peak experiences, and the synergy have become part of our everyday language. When he was first pioneering a vision about comprehensive human psychology in the early, in 1968-ish, he stood at a pinnacle of his international acclaim and influence. Maslow continued to be puzzled and intrigued by more positive human phenomenon of self-actualization. And he's well aware his theory about the best of humanity suffered in a lot of methodological flaws. Yet he had become even more convinced of its intuitive validity, and self-actualizers provide us with clues to our highest innate traits: love, passion, creativity, aesthetics, ethics, spirituality. Maslow longed to empirically verify this lifelong launch. So, you're here, I'm here in Chicago. I want to be in Laguna Beach, right? We talked about that. So, what this is all about doing is organizing your time, your space, your money, and now and your minds with the brain dump and now with learning some of this stuff. But it's hard for somebody who is homeless to want to talk about self-actualization, right? And so this is what this pyramid means as far as I want to use it in this workshop. It is the physiological needs. We have to have air, water, food, shelter, sleep, clothing, and well, the reproduction I don't agree with because you don't have to have sex um to live. I mean, ask a nun, she knows. Um, but these physiological things have to be taken care of first. When we have clothing on our back, when we've slept well, when we have a house or a condo or an apartment, when we have food to eat and air to breathe and water to drink, and to even to bathe with, those are physiological needs. And after those needs are met, then you can think about the next step, right? So the next step is then safety, and that is personal security, it's employment, health, and property, um, and also knowing about resources. So let's say that I was homeless and then I get get some things together and I get a job and I've got an apartment and I've got clothing and food, and now I'm seeking safety, which is personal security and the fact that I've got some savings now and that I live in an apartment, so I'm safe and not out on the streets, and I have a job and I have health. Um, let's just say that. Okay, so then when all of those things are in place, then we move to, well, hold on to what I do. There we go. Then we can move on to love and belonging, which are friendships and intimacy, family, and just a sense of connection. When somebody is like, let's just say my house just burned down, I'm I'm not going to really be in the mood or the headspace to be able to write or to text my friends, "Hey, I'm thinking about you today. I love you." It's like, my house is on fire. What are we doing here? And so, like again, like I said, you get those physiological needs in place, and then you get your safety in place, and then you can work on the love and belonging. When I was working as a social worker, I was working with one of my favorite clients ever, and she was working so hard, and she checked off those physiological needs and she checked off the safety needs because she got out of an abusive situation with her three kids, and she was able to get on her feet and secure housing, clothing, food, and safety from this harmful individual. Then I started to see that she felt lighter, she smiled more, she was more welcoming, and then she started having this increased desire to want to belong to somewhere. And so she started taking her kids to a church. Those are communities. If we're not, if we don't have communities with our family or with our neighbors, then church is a community too. But that's when we become, the need is, okay, now I need somebody that's going to care about me, and I need a place that I belong. Um, and then we go to esteem. So once we've got those three underneath, our belts, then we can focus on gaining respect from other people and for ourselves, and the status, the recognition, strength, and freedom, and all of those things that create esteem. And this is a building block. This is a ladder that we're climbing. And then, oh, sorry, I keep going the wrong way. And then we can start thinking about self-actualization. It is really sad when billionaires become self-centered, but because they don't have to worry about all of that stuff underneath them, then they should. Some people that are, excuse me, running in the country, excuse me, cough. Um, then that's when we can look at self-actualization, which is the desire to be all that we can be and be the best that we can be. That's when we really can um, get to a point, if you're doing yoga or if you're doing meditation, then when all of those other four are sealed and underneath and part of your foundation, then you're at a point where you can meditate to where you literally melt into the ground, right? Or your yoga is just extra yummy that day, or you then can have space to start thinking about um, being a philanthropist. Is that the way to say that? Once all of that is in place, and I keep going back to Bon Jovi because that's what's going to happen here. But it's his wife who knew that where much is given, much is required, and his wife is using his name. But they have those kitchens that anyone can walk in and get a meal. They have bought property and people are able to get on their feet. They've taken care of veterinarians. They have taken care of our veterans. And the list goes on, and I'm sure that there's so much more that they do that doesn't make the news. But it's because those four things are so grounded in them that then that the self-actualization is not only making yourself better, but reaching out to make your community better. And I love Dorothea Bon Jovi. Hi, if you ever see this, you're my only icon, American Idol, that I would love to sit down with, because your philosophies line up with mine, which is when all these things are grounded and when all these things are secure for us, and then we get to where we feel good about ourselves, then we have space that we give to other people, and that we create things like kitchens and restaurants and things like that give back to the community and that help lift other people. And so it went back to the very bottom because she's already had all these things. Then she was self-actualizing the JBJ Soul Foundation so that she can then turn around and give the food to those that were hungry. Like, it's amazing. So whether or not you agree with the pyramid theory, this does have some validity for me in when I teach. Um, if you saw my personal video about angel food versus devil's food cake, and my bozo, which is over here looking at me, I talk a lot about resiliency, and resiliency in my life, and how resilient I've been able to be until I just don't have the stamina physically or mentally, because my body is, I have a terminal illness. And so I will talk a little bit though about resiliency, that we're going to get specific about the things on your personal assessment goals and topics list, which comes from a list that I will do in another workshop. I will um, have photos up of the 100 question self checklist for those that are in high school, going into college age, but also parents, so that you can maybe even print those off or look at those, and your child does one and you do the other, and it's really interesting to see where things are doing really well, and where there's some issues that need to be worked on. But resiliency means, what it really means, it's the process and outcome of successfully adapting to difficult or challenging life experiences, especially through mental, emotional, and behavioral flexibility and adjustment to external and internal demands. One of the things that I teach is, if you can always see the bigger picture, that helps to bounce back. That helps for some of that resiliency. You have to take care of yourself. Make sure you've got that, unless you like walking in the rain and the snow and there's nowhere to go. Sorry, that's a song. Um, but to just being able to see the big picture, and whatever that looks like for you. For some people, the big picture is an eternal perspective. For some people, a big picture can just be what end goal that they want to have by the end of the year, or that they want to go from, washing dishes in the kitchen to being, head chef. So just seeing the big picture helps to with that resiliency. Getting a support network is so important. You think you can do it yourself. My husband's really, really good at keeping it all inside, and that doesn't work very well. Let me try something real quick. I'm sorry. Huh. I can't see if I'm on or if I'm off. But you need a support network. It doesn't have to be a huge group of friends. It can be one or two people. Um, but when you have somebody there that's cheering you on during your hard times, then it helps your resiliency to bounce back. Um, Resiliency is making hard decisions. What's the problem and what's the solution, and let's figure this out. And the more that you figure it out, the more confident you become. And so that again is building on that triangle of Maslow's hierarchy. So the reinforcement reminder is, remember that organizing increases control and decreases our anxiety. And so that has a lot to do with resiliency. I think I was able to be so resilient because my hyper focus, I guess, is all I knew is that at the age of like 4, I dumped over a box of crayons and I got a dopamine hit as I sat and put them in rainbow order. And from that moment on, I chased that dragon and I organized and organized and organized, and I still do it to this day. And it calms me down. It decreases my anxiety and it increases my control, which helps with my resiliency. If you are into this, another part of resiliency that I personally have done for years, I've had a gratitude journal that I write in quite frequently. And if not, I have a higher power that I talk to every day, and I'm constantly finding gratitude. I really think I can find gratitude in almost anything, because I've been working on it so much. If you, hi, whoever that was, that would be cool if that's Dorothea Bon Jovi. But anyway, okay. So this is another just theory. This is just something, a tool. It's not, you know, some people like it, some people don't. But the Five Love Languages by Gary Chapman, there are ways to use that to help communicate and connect better with your family, especially with my kids. I needed to have them take those tests so that I knew what their love language was because of their neurodivergence. How are they receiving that love? Because with my son, it's not touch and it's not touchy-feely words, you know? So, what is his love language? And so that's really helped me as a parent to be resilient. Um, don't stop believing. See, there's always a song, always. Resilient, resilient change. I don't know what this is trying to say, sorry. Assesses to confident to learn to find resources. Okay, well, anyway. Uh, we will repeat this. Resilience is a process and outcome of successfully adapting to difficult and challenging life experiences, especially through mental, emotional, behavioral flexibility and adjustment to external and internal demands. Don't stop believing. Don't stop. Okay. And then the self-assessment I will do later. Um, and then we will talk more about social emotional skills. But I'm going to stop sharing here and then bring me back up here. And oh, hi. Yeah, I was down here like this. Okay. Yes, I look like a monkey. And I still have that thing, the old lady thing on the lip, still there. Um, Resiliency, I could talk about all day. There are people that can bounce back. It's just natural. And then there are people that struggle to do so. And so I'm hoping that something in this workshop helps to reach down and bring somebody up to the next level so that they can learn to be more resilient. So anyway, all of that. With that, I will now stop recording and you can go to the next lesson. All right, see ya.